and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to this video with me here today. I have a beautiful surprise for you, but I don't know if you can see it, like what's behind me. Can you see it? It's beautiful horses. They're here on the meadows eating their natural greens and they're keeping me company for now. So I thought this was a beautiful spot. There's not, a lot of people around here today. We're by the Twin Lakes in the forest. Enjoying some beautiful elven frequencies. So I wanted to make this video special today. It also will be one of the videos which will kind of be a transitioning video before the new. I'm going to explain a little more about this as I go along. So where to start? There's just so much to share. Okay, let me start. Taking a deep breath. So this place here is a beautiful portal, and I've shared many times before about the white portal, and it's right here at the Twin Lakes around these mountains. This is for me the highest vibrational space here at this locale where I am currently residing in form. And I thought this was just a perfect space to talk about the recent transmission and messages from the Illumined Council. What does this mean? I've shared with you not so many times before. I've recently started to go deeper into that, the nature of my purpose as an illumined being and where I come from. It's more like what essence I come from. And I don't really talk about this so much so far along the path. Was very sacred to me. I didn't share much about it. And in the last video, I talked about Aurion as my light being partner, my companion in spirit that's always been with me. And I want to explain first, before I go into the messages that we were recently receiving that were very deep, and I want to share some updates with you about that. The first thing I want to share is how this path of illumined ones is different on this planet in terms of the way we receive guidance. And I also want to mention why this is important for people who are shifting in their guidance template as well. So as you know, the way I share, it's just the way I share. And recently I received some beautiful notes of gratitude from beautiful people, people who have realized the devotion that's in my work. Some people have thanked me for the purity of the messages and how they really feel they're of the truth. There's a lot of confusion out there, that's right. And this is why this video will be about this. I want to really specify the way that the illumined guidance speaks through, the way it communicates, its essence. What does it truly mean to be within illumined guidance and to build an illumined template? Okay, so in the past videos I've started to share more about the illumined union path, and I've shared with you this path for me as in the vertical pillar formation as an Aurea Orion, which is the devotion. Okay, so as this counterpart that I call Aurion is serving at the vertical or the illumined realms formation, I'm here now as the descendant in the physical world, in this realm, and it hasn't been easy for me all my life. I have felt estranged from even the spiritual topics, even from the way spiritual things are presented upon this planet. I've never felt like this full resonance with most of things. I never felt like this is that which is illumined. So I've always been seeking within my own path this wisdom which is illumined, okay? Because there's a lot of knowledge coming through, as you know. There's pouring through all these streams of information. But I was recently communing with my group, and I was asking you things, and the first thing, because I get a lot of responses from people on this path of the beloved, of the twin flames joining together. And I was asking, how is this different for us who are illumined beings? And it's very simple. So this is what Aurion shared with me. He said, well, for us it's different because we already are in union all the time. And I've shared this with you before, I think. And he said, the difference is once you start to function at the group consciousness level, which means your soul has fully come through these cycles of incarnation. And a lot of us have done this in other worlds, not necessarily here on Earth. This is a part of my path, how it was, how the synthesis was first achieved. And then when this occurs, the horses, can you hear them? When this occurs for the first time, it's as if the twin flames, okay, the two polarities come together and the twin soul essence is fully realized. So there is the potential for the twin soul to become a full realization, and the twin flame, what people talk about this coming together as in this journey of the integration into that wholeness and completion, which eventually leads into illumined union. So within that is many cycles. I've explained this before, and I will also one day create this. I've already started to write it, the book about illumined union and tantric path alongside the other books. It's going to be a trilogy. I've shared this with you before. So when this occurs, okay, the soul is going through these waves of illumined union, and it's more and more coming together into its wholeness, okay? So eventually when this occurs, there's the twin soul that has been fully realized. And through the realization of that essence, there eventually comes this point where the twin flame, which was before very important on this path of integration, no longer serves the same purpose because it has been transcended and moved into another form, okay, or its essence, what it serves for in creation. In creation, everything, once it fulfills a certain quotient of its current state of realization, when it comes into that realization with the completion of that cycle, it enters a new stage of form. It enters a new essence level. It's meant to create something at a different, maybe wider level of what the soul has known before. So when this twin soul realization is complete, when it occurs at the group level of that which went out through the breath of life in creation, it comes together again in a synthesized way, and the group consciousness complex is formed at the realized self level, at the illumined level. And in my multidimensional ascension, I think, in that course, I explained the building, the creation of the illumined council within certain worlds of creation, how eventually it comes to their, the coming, the birthing of the illumined council. Sorry, the horses keep disturbing me with their sounds a little bit. Sorry if I don't come off as fluid, okay? So when this occurs, you as a being, even when you say, okay, we'll still individualize in a way, I will still come out when there's a call. Like at this Earth timeline, there was a call for those of us who were already functioning at this illumined council level. We have our own groups within the wider variety of what we call the White Brotherhood of Light, or a wider formation. There's different groups of illumined councils from different, let's say, origins or different birthing points in creation, each knowing its own purpose at a core level. So when the illumined council is born, whatever you do is illumined. Wherever you go is your journey, your mission is to share illumined knowledge, whatever the way it travels and whatever way is utilized. But even when you still individualize, you're never fully an individual. So many years ago, I've asked, why does my life feel so different and why I long for this group feeling? And they've shared with me, they said, where you come from as an essence, not a place. They said, we function and we exist as a group. And you still feel that, and you're always connected with us. And it took a while for me to actually embody this. And I created even these levels of mastery courses, and one level is the group soul consciousness. And it explains this process, okay? So after the last final 7 initiation of the personal journey, which is the twin soul, and merging of polarities into unity, there is a group soul connection. And okay, you start to build the template from there on. So what this means is whenever you go into whatever realm, there is a descent of energy sent, but that doesn't mean that that being which goes out and says, okay, I'm the one who's going to go into this airplane right now. No, it's not an individual form, because you never fully exist at the individual level. You do at a level of functionality, but at the level of the essence you no longer do, which means you always are one with your illumined council. So that's what they've shared with me. That's why I had so much support all of my life. It was, even if something seemed so weird, everything around it was built the way I could move on. I could do this work, even when I had the forces of the dark or forces that wished to be, it was like putting stones in front of my feet so I couldn't, walk further. There was always something. There was always a decree of the light. There was always this feeling of we're together, okay? And I've shared with people recently on Instagram that a while ago they started sending me this song, and I didn't even know this song. I think it's from the 80s, and maybe I heard it as a young girl or a child. And I think it's by a man, and the song is called Raising My Family. And in it is the lyrics that says, my family is here to guide me. My family is always there beside me. So everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. I've got my family here beside me, my family here to guide me. And when I am at this level, when I need to hear this, the song starts playing in my head, and then I know it's them sending me the song, and it's beautiful. So this is what they've explained to me, and they said that my level of work right now, as it's transitioning, it has to move more into sharing who I truly am. Because a lot of the times, me as well, like anyone else, was like hiding a little bit behind the facade of, the way people perceive me. But my journey is not about being, looked upon a certain way, perceived a certain way. It's just doing what is right within our purpose, within our illumined council. And wow, a big green grasshopper just jumped on the tree where I'm putting my device. Beautiful. So many messages today, nature. So anyway, I wanted to specifically say that they have recently, the connection I've built with them is now more intense because I've embodied the roots of that Elohim consciousness embodiment. So they have shared with me that my purpose now will be more about sharing deeper and more meaningful content, like going deeper than just doing a lot of content. Because before I created a lot of material, a lot of content, they said now less but more deep, like more synthesized, more at the essence, more core. So not so much work for, like here, and a lot of it's scattered, but more devotion, more input at this highest level that I came here to embody. So even, everything I do has an illumined essence. Recently, I have, for the Virgo new moon at this time, I have been channeling this drawing. I felt this drawing of myself. I wanted to gift myself for my birthday, which is this week on the weekend on 15th. I wanted to birth this manifestation through this drawing of my new self, what I wish to embody. And I made a drawing and I shared it on Instagram. And someone has said, well, I felt pulsation in my third eye when I was looking at it. And the thing is, I created a mastery course, which is the last 13-level synthesis course on creation, which is illumine, which becomes eternal. And when you birth this way, whenever you do this way, you're building it through consciousness. You're not just using certain steps to manifest and, these temporary forms, temporary levels that always go back and forth. It's like recycling one form for the other. But it's truly a lasting, firm, illumined foundation, which is a crystalline template. And when you birth things this way, they come into reality carrying an essence, and not everyone, of course, will realize the essence that's behind it. But a few people who have that opening, who are ready to receive, they will. So it's alive. Even if it's just a drawing, it becomes alive. It's like the essence of it speaks with the language of light, the language of that union. So I wanted to share this with you, and I want to go into the message that we've received during this last transmission. So a lot of my transmissions for the spirit work, by white butterfly. I hope he comes in. Are you coming in? No, he's shy. Maybe from the back. I already had a tiny baby frog today, just as we were walking through the fields, and I had to carry it. I made a photo. Again, I have to. It's like so beautiful. It's like a little beautiful elven paradise here. Anyway, the way I receive these transmissions is often when I have a physical, maybe sometimes even a very dense trigger. And then during that trigger, I'm just like, oh, I need to do something about it. And say, let's meditate. Now we're channeling energies. And it's very intentional. It's a very focused process. So we were doing it, and I was asking questions. And then he wants to play with us. So beautiful. And as I was asking questions, the answers were coming through really firmly. And I can't literally say how it was. But I will share with you what the council has shared in that transmission, which I feel is important now for the whole. And we've even seen them. It was funny. It was a very visual, because we were asking questions, and sometimes from the human perspective, we're like, come on, I'm sick of this happening this way. Give us a real answer. Give us, like, what are we to know here? Come on, where's this leading? And then we saw them. It was like they were in a circle, like a group of beings like this, kneeling their hands or keeping their hands down, and they were like tied together, and they were saying, I'm sorry, but we can't at this point say we're really sorry about it. And then I had this knowing, it's not that they don't know. From the illumined level, I'm going to explain to you how it functions, but the illumined level is the essence which always goes with the flow of now. It's just like where the life force is, where it's the highest potential in each moment. That's where it's like a template is built around it, and it's always like in a spiral formation. That's why, because it's not linear, you're never given like specific answers or direct answers like, this is what you want to know, we're going to give it to you, okay? So they've actually explained that what's happening now on the planet for everyone, because there's this cosmic convergence and multidimensional fusion of not just the fifth dimension coming in, like people are saying the fifth dimension is being anchored on the planet. This is bigger than that. This is a multidimensional ascension. And I have a whole course about it for people who want to go much deeper into seeing ascension as multidimensional, not just from one D to the other D, okay? Like it's linear process again. No, it's truly a journey of convergence. And the more you open up to this and becoming a master of your multidimensional essence, because we all have that, the more you will understand, the more your wide eyes of knowledge will be, you know, like there for you, available. So they've shared that because of this constant converging frequency, it's always like this. It's like they won't give you an answer because they give you an answer, you expect that outcome, you go into that linear mode, and you still can't know how to fully release all sense of time. They've told me this a while ago. They said for you to really live in illumined union, you have to release all sense of time. Yes, you see, the butterfly said, hey, yeah, release it. Okay, you're ready. And this means like we say, okay, we do what we partially do, but for certain things we don't, and we're keeping them on hold, and we want to have a certain way to come to us. And then it didn't make sense to me. I said, but what about all the people who give other people prophecies like this will happen for you this month or that year, or you're going to meet that person, or, you know, this is how you're going to be, or your life is, you've already completed everything, and all that, okay? And I was asking how, because the illumined knowing is so pure, it's so sacred, because it's like the ultimate value for life, for free will, which is the utilization of your own sovereignty. They will never go against this, because a lot of people who are giving other people prophecies, they're not giving gifts, they're giving curses. I'm sorry, but that's what they've shared with me, that it's actually, it's like, it's not a blessing, it's truly a curse, because it gives you an expectation on something, and it prevents you from being in the flow of the spiral consciousness, because you have, even if it's just one part of you, keeps focus on that, which is something will happen this month for you, or this will enter your life at this linear time stream. And the reason why the illumined guidance never does that is because they hold the highest reverence and respect for life the way it's meant to blossom through the beauty of Holy Spirit. And a lot of times, even when things feel chaotic, the illumined wisdom is, no, it's all happening perfectly, but we don't see it. As a humans, we say, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not going the way I want to. So people go to psychic readers, and they're fortunate to be told, or, you know, even people who have maybe further developed consciousness, not just people who want all their answers, you know, on a silver platter, but they expect a certain something, like a sense of certainty or familiarity, that they can feel they're on the right path, or that this is the way it's going to happen. But in truth, they're receiving curses, not blessings. And I was asking, well, then where is this coming from? And why do all these psychics say, I know this, and I can give you this prophecy? Well, people don't receive it on their own. And they're telling me it's a simple answer. It's the astral realms. The astral realms are not illumined realms. They're still realms. They're still timelines. It's still a reality. It's not wrong. It's not bad. But it's not the highest possible attainment that the soul that wants eventually a state of illumination and true ascension, you can't achieve it when you always are accepting guidance from the astral level. And even myself, I've taken a few books that people would say it's more new agey material. I couldn't read it. The language of the material was just so, to me, it was like I was perplexed. It's like, I can't tune into this. And I said, is something wrong with me? Why can't I read this book? They said, it's not your language. It's not the way your guidance flows. It's too complex, and it's a lot of this abstract, and it's not how we function. And they said, we have to be at the level of the messages. We are here to share the way we function, and that's why they have been stressing for me how important it is to start sharing more with focus and confidence about this path, without fearing what other people might think about this. Because people still have a lot of, you know, things like, oh, what's she talking about? What is this? Whatever. It's not about that. They said it's not about being perceived a certain way, but for those people who are ready to feel what this means, so they can more align with the path of illumination, so they can start to receiving guidance in the illumined template, and then build in a human embodied way their own illumined template. And I've talked to you about this before, and what are some of the ways you can get into this essence and energy. That's one thing. So they have explained that they would never do that. And when I had goosebumps all over my body was when I realized it's not that they don't know, it's like they can't say, they won't say. And they're doing this because they love you in an illumined way. So with me, many times it was like, why are they not sharing this with me? Why is this not like this? My human self was sometimes agitated for quite a long time, until I really embodied also the essence that we embody as the council. And it's starting to be more and more a part of my physical reality, the way I function, the way I address things in life, the way my reality, the whole reality is built, you know, like. So sometimes what happens on my path is people will come and they'll share something with me, or they will ask me a question and they will want an immediate response from me. It's like, oh, I have this for you, or I want to share this, you know, it's like, and then I don't respond like for the first few hours maybe, or even a day. They're like, oh, why are you not responding? And like, I have to explain this to you. It's not because I would not want to respond. But the lumen way of being is those of us who have this consciousness as wise elders. We don't jump for the gun. We don't do things on a whim. What we do instead is we really contemplate, we absorb the essence of, let's say something has an offer for you, or they want to recommend something, or they want to share something, or they want to know something from you, or whatever. We have to digest this on all levels. We have to process that, and this is what we do through contemplation. And then when there is an answer that crystallizes out of that, when all angles are, you know, approached, we don't do it. We don't talk this way. I don't talk to people like someone hasn't even finished their sentence. I have to jump in between. I've noticed this with people. I don't even write my response back. They're already typing back. It's like, wait, slow down. Know how it is to act from a level of true soul maturity. Don't act in defense. Don't be in that constant like chitter-chatter. You know, illumined beings, we're not like that. We don't like jibber-jabber. We don't like constant chatting. We don't like this mental, there's all like mental chatter, which becomes embodied. And we can't move on as souls. We can't really have this embodied maturity and stability. So I've embodied more and more of that as I've gone through my journey. I had all my life a feeling like I have to respond to someone because they want me to, and now because I'm embodying more of this as I grow, I have to really allow myself the time to contemplate, to birth an answer of illumination, not like something that someone maybe perhaps wants to hear from me in that moment, because it's still based on acceptance, on expectation, not on full acceptancy. And that which, like I said, it's an illumined answer, so the way I function as illumined being has to be embodied. So it has to flow that way, and it has to be contemplative and deep. And so I respond when I have time, because I can be busy with my flow. I have to follow my flow, because the flow is what the Holy Spirit through me wants in that moment to be. And I just trust myself that everything comes in divine timing. Even in the past, sometimes I was like this as well. I was like trying to please everyone and reach out when people thought they want to or they need to. But now I'm really trusting that flow. And through respecting that flow, a higher form of respect is built. Because it's truly not respectful when we don't trust this. We don't trust that. We don't trust that things have to grow and mature. When they're really ripe, they come out, and the right things come out. Something that's illumined, not something that's real fast and quick, you know, like superficial. There has to be like this consistency, this firm knowing, this establishment of the self, which is really, really what makes you an illumined, aware being, a wisdom, not just speaker, but the embodiment of that. Okay, so this is the way we function. So please don't take it the wrong way. Sometimes, you know, I don't respond to you at the first moment, but I always do respond, except for the people who maybe write in a really demeaning kind of way and they're just there to, you know, ramble. And I don't do that. I have to filter my content as well. So the approach has to be through love and respect. Okay, this is what opens the gates to illumined communication. So the next thing I want to share as well, what else was there coming? Let me think. They really are asking people to feel deeply behind everything they're doing, because we tend to do things in a da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? That kind of way. And they're saying it's not how much we do or when we do it, it's how we do it. And that's also true for illumined creation, which is all in 7 hours long course. Yeah, that was a long one, but it was a big one. It's really important. Key course for those who really want to step into what we know is this ripening and synthesis of the soul and illumined way of creating. Okay, your template first, your embodiment, then everything becomes an extension of it. So they're asking people now to be aware with all this information coming through and listen, because I've shared with you how illumined realms function, how they give information. Don't always ask in the way you demand an answer and you demand something to be given to you a certain way, because that's what you're going to get. You're going to get an answer from that level through which you've posed your question. It's going to come to you in that mirror of source. So if your answer comes from a lack and need, that greedy need to answer, to get them right away, it's the level of consciousness that will answer to you. And in a lot of cases that will be astral. So when I ask, so why do all these people tell you these things, like that's going to happen for you this month or that month? And they've been showing me that that's a lot of times it's a lot of stumbling on the path of true seekers because of that. There's a lot of confusion and misleading, and a lot of times things don't happen for people because of that. So it's like you're focused on something which was given to you in a linear timeline, so you're so much focused on it that how it's meant to happen through flow, you can't, because you're not allowing it to happen at the higher level. You're functioning still at this tidal level, and this means this higher essence can't come in because you've already said, I'm going to receive it at this level, linearly, in this way. So everything functions as the pure mirror. So you have to get really clear, really deep in your sovereignty, and that's what they are asking people, to move deeper, to learn, to observe, to meditate, to reflect upon these words. Maybe I'm sharing now, to contemplate. Don't just go like you absorb one video, okay, this is Bologna, share this. Well, what's my next video I'm going to watch, or what's the next best thing? This is a fast forward, like, it's like factory kind of work, like from one putting pieces together to the next one. This is a gradual, really deepening process of the self and how the self truly ripens. Okay, so the reason why for many beings, especially for volunteer souls, like they share with me, haven't happened already is because a lot of them haven't truly stepped into this path, this higher knowing, higher illumined truth. So they keep on holding on to something. And in a way, by doing this, we're preventing it to happen at the higher level. So they've shared with me, there's only a few key players on the planet who are holding this illumined frequency. And through that, we're allowing its hold, it's anchoring on the planet at this time. Okay? So a lot of that, because we're not allowing that flow, is then being destabilized, and we're not allowing it. They've also talked to me about the flow, how important it is every day, especially in the morning, because in the morning you're setting your intention for the day, not just in your head with affirmations, okay, reciting something on and on. Jibber jabber. It's not jibber jabber, but it has to be accompanied with much deeper things as well. Okay, it's not just the things you say, it's what you bring into your body. And they've been sharing with me how everything in life has its in nature an organic ascension pathway. It's all like this beautiful flow, how it's all adjusting and adapting. Okay, so in the illumined creation course, I explain how source functions. Source does not create like something is bad or wrong, so we're gonna take out that program, we're gonna cancel it out. Okay, this program, it's been running, but it's now recognized as a false program, so we're gonna eliminate, terminate. Source does not do that. Okay, what source does is like rewrites a whole new blueprint. So this is what divine plan is like. Even when all we perceive is constantly shifting and it's a little like wobbly like this, there's always this higher, like an ovoid of light, and it's constantly rewritten. So when my Orion told me a while ago, I said, where are you? He said, I'm always in council meetings. I felt like he's working up there, I'm working here nonstop, because it's so intense. There's a lot of wobbling happening at this planet at this time. You can feel it. But at this time, we're not meant to get specific answers. It's not our path to be so focused on when will this happen? When will I get this? When will I get that? And then I can do my mission. The important thing is the way we bring this light of clarity, of deep truth, of integration into our bodies to create that flow, which will make that all happen organically and automatically without comparison or saying, other people got this, why didn't I get this? Why does this not happen for me? I also was creating. I was also manifesting. This is beyond that. This is seeing and going so deeply, whether you're truly in that vortex, whether you're truly in the flow or not. And when enough people creates this flow, trust me, what we call the dark or whatever, it won't have its grip as firmly as it does now. It already doesn't have it as strongly as it used to, okay? So if you can see, one of the examples would be these chemtrails. They're doing them every day here now. But in many cases, when we build flow, when we do this within our own body, they're just being dissolved. Okay, as we go along the day. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes a little better, it depends, but still, it is truly about the work of light here. It's not like expectations of something in a linear way to happen a certain way. But they've been sharing with me that for a lot of volunteer souls, it has been intense because the priority of our light quotient going into things, into matters of nature, of service, was service for the whole, not so much in our personal realities and lives. And maybe for a while our inner child felt like a little depleted, a little left out in a little corner, said like, I'm here in the side pocket, hello, I want this too and I want that too. And they said, it's all happening. But now, as everything you've put into this collective, beautiful vessel of light, now you need to know that this is all you. It now lives within you. You didn't just give it to the world. You are a part of the world, so it is in you. You became this vessel. So now from this vessel, because you create dimensionally, this will birth this reality. You're not creating it outside of you. And if you want to go deeper, all this knowledge is all in this huge 7-hour course called Mastery of Illumined Creation and Elohim Embodiment. So another way of flow, what they really wanted me to talk about, is getting into your body every day. The most important thing I've been discovering lately, which not just lately, but for a while now, and this knowledge has been synthesized in my Cosmic Dance for the Galactic Human course and the Cosmic O. I'm not going to say the word because basically YouTube has been tagging these videos, the Cosmic O, you know, the big O, you can see the previous video, has been tagging them as inappropriate, right? And it's like, okay, that's just real indicator of where we are as a group, as a society, what we value as bad or taboo. But I'm not just going to say the word so they won't block me again or whatever. I don't want that. I want these videos to get out, okay? I want them to be published. So these two courses are all about really getting into the body and creating that flow, because it has never been more important for every day, so we can be in line with all these bombarding energies and cosmic frequencies. We can be always aligned, and the best way to create this flow and establish it in your body is every day get in your vortex. And it's not, like I said, just affirmation you will tell yourself, but it's things like yoga, deep breath work, tantric stuff like tantric yoga. I do womb yoga, a lot of that, and free flow dance. For me, nothing shifts faster than free flow dance. I put on Mose. That's my favorite kind of music that has really free flow essence to it. It's just M-O-S-E, Mose. It's like a DJ or something, and it's music where you can dance on all levels too. It's just such a beautiful vibration of that music, and I really love to use it. It's many mixes on YouTube. You can find that. But always, if you like artists, support them, support their work sometimes by purchasing the things. I also say to people who, if they like my videos, if they're helped by them, also you can support an artist, which is me in this case, okay? This is very much important, how we create flow within and help to support flow in the whole world. So if something gives you an opportunity for you to be more in flow, you support back that essence, and then it's all in this infinite reciprocity, okay? So when you do that, and every morning you're basically building the foundation, every day you're setting up energy, and they want us to know how important that is, because everything will now be built around it. Whatever happens, even if your day is chaotic, you have set the flow. You have created a high enough frequency to sustain and maintain all of that which will come along the way. You'll see the differences. If you do any of these courses that I offer, if you're going to start more with the embodiment, or if you're going to go to illumined creation first, it doesn't matter. But I really advise you to start with the body work first, because that will open up your body to receive higher information in terms of more lumen knowledge, which can sometimes be perceived like, people don't always understand it. But then the more you go into the body, the more you will. So in those videos, it's all about how to create that, so you can be like this fully open lotus, and you are so firm with your roots, okay? You have waters of life, you have lotus, you have your crown, then you have roots. As you know, lotus has some big roots. And it's so important now. And they gave me one example because I've been recently noticing wherever I go, all of our mountain stream waters have grown for the past year intense green algae. There's algae everywhere. And even if you're trying to like reach with the water bottle, right, your glass bottled water, you go like reach for it, it's like, oh, algae inside. I'm like, what is this? And they were telling me how this is important because, as you know, there's so much toxicity coming, especially with the chemtrails, and it's in the waters. Even in something you say, well, it's so natural, it's a natural spring water. Everything nowadays has been so bombarded with pollutants. And they were sharing with me how nature always compensates. In nature, everything is always has its function. So if something is in liability, it will just increase that function to make that work in to compensate for what, let's say, comes as in destabilizing energy and creates more stability and flow again. So the algae has basically overpopulated the water because it's meant to be this way. So they're helping to create flow in the water again, because all these pollutants are preventing the flow of water, which is pure crystalline form and information. And I've shared with you before that there's extraterrestrial or not planetary water coming in for the past few cycles. It comes in with the streaming frequencies, with the cosmic rays, cosmic lightnings. Then we have all this water. It's a new water. It hasn't been here in the planet before. It has been refined through, it's coming through the firmament, and it's coming from the realms. Okay, it's like the descent of the frequency is the pure crystallization, and on the earth plane it's perceived as water. It's liquid. It still has a form of solidity to it. And they've been sharing with me how this is a natural indicator of creating flow. So you live in this toxic environment. We all do, even me living in the Alps. Let me tell you, we have the tremendous impact of Harley Davidson people, motorbike societies coming in at large quantities, especially when they have these dates. It's terrible, especially because people think, oh, we have these bikes. They're given through these societies, right? The controlling societies, they're given these things as toys they're so proud of. These people who are top of these, the game players, they're already playing with free energy and with extraterrestrial, devices. And they're giving humans motorbikes, pollutants, and they're laughing at them. They're laughing like, look at this stupid humans having these bikes. Haha, what do they think they are? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I've offended any one of you if you own a bike or something, but that's what they're doing. They're always showing me how they are. And I'm seeing them, how they're laughing at humans and they're making fun of them, how they're so gullible. And this is what we do. And there's so much of this density, and it's coming, and it's constantly coming at us, and it prevents the flow. So what they're doing is they're not just creating control on the planet, but they're also wanting to disrupt the flow. So how do we create the flow? First, in your body, whatever you eat. That's why they've shared with me the most important content of food, the purest you can add to your food at this time is algae, green algae, whatever kind of form, especially spirulina, cleans the third eye, as you know. Add it to your smoothies, create things from it, drink it in water, I don't know, whatever. Fresh organic fruits, but as you know, everything already contains, even fruits and vegetables, it contains that which absorbs from the earth, and earth is already so polluted. So even if you don't add extra toxic, stuff to it when you grow your food, it's the earth itself and the water, it's all continuously, needing to purify all of that. So the algae do that in water naturally. That's why this algae is overgrown. I'm telling you, it's become like most intense vegetation now. It's like algae here. Everywhere I go, ooh, more algae, okay? I tried to wash this piece of clothing that I made dirty, okay? And I was trying to wash it in the water. It was all green from algae, and then it was just more dirt on it. It's like green. Okay, you can dye it, right? If you want green clothes, just take it through the water with it, wash with algae. Anyway, jokes aside, what they wanted to share with me is like it is so important, and people forget. There's a lot of people who are already doing that, but the essence of it is not like to be more healthy or to be vegan in a certain way, but it is because it's a part of ascension. The body can ascend when the body is being kept at this low frequency where it can't receive from this higher light, which is all a divine dispensation of light that's coming through, and it's streaming all the time. But at the same time, there's always like these forces of like little distractions and penetrations that are wanting to prevent that flow, and they're creating a lot of blocking energies. So what we can do is each on our own doing the work. Get these greens in your body, especially algae. They will constantly purify whatever you're receiving from the toxic environments. Get in your flow, get in your vortex every morning. And especially, even if it's just a few minutes of that free flow dance, you will see. It will alter your whole day. It will be like magical liquid light. Even when there's seeming obstructions and difficulties, you will see. Let me tell you from my own example, it works miracles. And if you want to support my work, just get the courses, and they have so much wisdom. There's so much application you can use. Okay, so the last thing I want to share basically is some updates I have for you. Let me see what. Okay, the first update is recently during a beautiful transmission, which was in a personal session. Oh, the horses are now gone. Sorry, guys. I hope you've seen them though in their transition. They migrated. Yeah, in this beautiful session with a divine companion, there was channeling almost an hour long. We had this light activation, which is I always do at the end of the session, and this one was particularly long, and it was very beautiful. I never felt so much of this like pure knowing what it has to come through. You know, it was funny because I was very tired on that day, and we were talking, and I was like, my words didn't flow perfectly, and I was like making a lot of mistakes as trying to put my way of thinking into English language, which is not my native tongue, as you know. And then when I did the activation, every word, no mistakes, and this is when you know you're in spirit, and I know where I'm in this flow, and I'm the vessel. And it was such a beautiful transmission, I decided to put it on my page. It is on the multidimensional mastery section. That's the first one there. I think I put it only for $7 if you want to get it. It's called the Dream World Mastery. So it was this whole beautiful gateway opening when you get to the level of the self where you were in your highest wisdom. A lot of people were incarnated on earth upon these different timelines, which were very important timelines, where they held true wisdom, where they had these soul gifts and they were used for the greater good and to serve humanity. But along the lines with this fall, a lot of them forgotten these gifts they carry. Or there was a lot of disruptions from the environment because the environment held such a density. They couldn't use these gifts that way. So now these gifts are trying to come through. A lot of these people, what they're experiencing is like a feeling like their gifts are actually curses. They're having nightmares when they dream, they sleep. They're feeling like there's a lack of flow, and they're saying, well, that's bad. And there's a lot of misinterpretation of what's really taking place. I read once in this hypnotic book, Regressions, right, from Dolores Cannon, there was this example when a woman thought she was having a psychic attack, but it's just her light team and her guides are trying to resuscitate her because her heart was failing. And there's so much misinterpretation happening as we're descending that light and making it into a human way of receiving things, and we are misinterpreting the messages and wanting to make them fit our little world. So in this whole session, the focus was on becoming a master of the dream world. Because a lot of people say, well, it's just a nightmare when I go to sleep and then I wake up and it's okay, I knew it was just a nightmare. No, a master knows that the dream world reality is not separate from the real world. It's both one. So when you learn to master your dreams and you access these aspects of the self, and you can access eventually this part of the self, which was you already at the highest pillar formation for which you were created at the essence level, then you can start to harness all these energies and gifts, but in an illumined way. So there's this like almost an hour-long activation. It's beautiful. Like I said, it's on the multidimensional mastery segment of the page. It's the first one. You can get it there. I only made it for $7, but it's really beautiful activation. And the next thing I want to share is basically for the Patreon support. I shared with you in the last video that I'll try to add more content to that. So people who join in, they will always receive the same message that the people who will receive spirit channel message on each part of the month, which means that they will not miss out on the monthly energy. So whenever you join, it's not like you're just going to get it the next month. Each month I will channel a spirit message. I'm doing the Ascension grid with the illumined oracles, with crystals. It's really an energy that I tune into and I channel for that month along with the spirit message. And I started doing this from this month. After the summer, like I promised you that I'm going to have a pause in July and August, and then I'm doing something new, and this is what came through. I'm not yet seeing what's going to happen as the additional content. I want to do some readings. I want to do further content for those who support there. Everyone, when they join, they get first their own personal illumined oracle. They get their own message to get you started with that gratitude for your support. And then when you join, whenever you join, if you're new, you're always going to get that channel message as well, okay? Like the rest of the group receives at the, I don't know, when there's a payout around 5th or 6th, I'm going to create after then a message. And this first message was really beautiful. It was actually quite long. I didn't expect it to be so long. I was actually writing it in the middle of the night, which is actually good because like it's all quiet and you're very receptive to those energies, the subtlety of spirit coming through. And messages of spirit are always, like I said, they're so simple. They never give like timelines, or it's just pure love, and it's pure recognition of what's taking place at the higher level. It was quite a long message, and I shared an excerpt from that message on my Instagram. But let me see if there's a part of the message now, if I can access it, because where I am currently, I don't think there's any internet. Let me see if I can access that. Yes, I can. miraculously can. I want to read you this last part, which I've shared. Let me see. So I want to give you a little more expanded version so you can see what these messages feel or look like. Don't go for the words, feel the energy, okay? Let me see where I'm going to start to read. It's okay. So all who have recognized these, the potentials at this time in their gifts, and who have been tremendously changed by the intense summer lights, will begin to feel the new potentials returning to them in the form of past rewards. This would be like receiving a higher form of what was shared through the purity of unconditional love and released into the fields of Gaia. For instance, forgiveness is replaced and compensated with deep gratitude and abundance. Deep introspection and contemplation is replaced and compensated with strong clarity and focus. This means that each essence which has birthed itself through the human form completely in the current cycle will eventually birth a new essence ready to begin anew in its seeming infancy. This might feel like divine intervention or dispensation of light. However, it is not only that. It comes from within as well, and it is the power of knowing our own creation. It is the ability to see our co-creation with the world within the whole. The more focused we are in our vortex, the more that co-creation will become authentic, which means the more it will vibrate with the illumined form or template. And this is how we gradually build a new illumined template of light, which superimposes upon itself. Like I said, there's like a rewrite around your essence, creating its own variation and a spin-off essence that begins to build momentum. So, dear beloved, see what is right in front of you at this time, even when it's perhaps in the form of leaving your space at this time. Everything in your reality can be used as that ultimate mirror with no more excuses. Whoever stays the same and follows the same routines at this time is not expanding dimensionally. Your excellence is growing through multidimensionality, and when you share it with others, more excellence will be born and also creating its own spin-off, which will proudly and boldly move out into the world. You can read the whole message and get the grid if you become a patron, whatever your timeline is, if you feel so called, if that's your attention and you're enjoying this space and you want to be part of the group. But I will really want to add additional content to it. So I'm using this time, as I've said, this will be my last video for a while, If I can make it this long, you know me, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I go like, this is my last video for real. And then you have to see me like I am in my real world. And I go, I have to make this one. I'm gonna get this. And I get so excited. I get like shivers all over my body. And it's like, but didn't I say it was the last video for a while? No, you can't do that, right? You can't like make a controlling cause like how it's gonna look like. It's like you have to allow the flow. So just go with the flow. But I have my birthday coming up this next weekend on the 15th. And for me, birthdays are sacred. Not in the way to be adorned or anything, but sacred. And they're huge initiations. You're entering a whole new cycle. And I'm using this time, a few days before my birthday and a few days after, to really go within, to have that retreat. I also use the Tao Oracle, same cards fell out, retreat. Actually, no, one was marked. One was like marked with white color. I don't know where it came from. And I'm looking at that card, what it is. I turn it around and it's the retreat card. Like, okay, withdrawal. It's needed because when you birth something, right? When you're birthing something from your fullness, it's like you're like streaming out. And this is what I do. I get so into it. And the reason why I can create so much at sometimes a small amount of time, and it can make my body feel a little tired or depleted after that, because it's so much coming through, energy and physical activity, and then people connecting, and it's like a lot. Okay, then I have to, that momentum which was built and it birthed something, I gotta then withdraw that life force again, so that I can create this full emptiness. And this is what I feel this Virgo new moon served for, like creating this full blank emptiness again. And from this space, we're preparing for new birth. So if I want to offer this high content at the new level, I need to withdraw for a while to really feel what that is, instead of acting on impulses, right? Acting on a whim, to just do the same old, same old. If you're going to watch my videos from, 8 years back when I just began, I'm hardly recognizable to myself, at least. It's like, that's not me. Well, it is me. It's like a mini-me, a mini version of me, which has received so many superimposed aspects of itself that now is the me now, which will continue to create those little spin-offs and create that superimposed embodiment each time through each new cycle. So After my birthday, after my retreat, I will let you know what I will be called to do with my Patreon. The content will be there, you know, like, so if you support me there, you will be able to access it, because I'm still so new to this. I haven't explored much, but I think it's very simple how you can create. For people who can support, they can watch our content there, as well as the regular videos I do here, but I want to do more with focus, right, with the messages coming through these illumined frequencies, not so much like everything I used to do before, right? When we birth a new cycle, we have to also be really real. What's leaving, what's no longer that important. Maybe other people are now doing that, and we're going to have to step into this new. So I think that's it for now. I will be back after, I don't know, after a while, after this retreat. In the meantime, you can get these courses to support the work, but also, you know, for me, it's so important that people are enjoying it, that people are getting into the work. For me, that means the world. You know, it's like always, it's nice to feel supported in the physical realm, but for me, the biggest blessing is when people are actually having benefit of that, when people are moving forward. And when I did this recent spirit channeling for the Patreon supporting team, people were like writing me back like, oh, this came in the perfect timing. Wow, thank you. It's like, you see, this is, for me, that's the biggest reward, is to receive that feedback and know that it has served its purpose and that it continues to undulate with its magic. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this time. This beautiful time of the Virgo new moon has created something really new. It's creating a new momentum. So I hope you're going to use this time wisely. Go deep, create that introspection, go into your contemplation. How does illumined wisdom feel like? How does it come to you? Don't expect answers to come that way, to giving you a certain pinpoint that feels like rather limiting, because it's not coming from illumination. Like these beings in the circle with their lips were sealed, and we're like, they knew what they were doing. They know, because it's like they always know how much can be shared. And when something's not given, it's not because you're not loved by your family of light. It's because you are loved. And so many factors have to be considered in this whole process that you're not always seeing it. So those of you who are on this path, please understand that sometimes, and go easy on yourself, and also value your inner child. That's what I'm doing now, in a way, to offer myself a little bit of the fun as well. Hope to do some hiking in the mountains. I haven't done that in ages, and I know it was the summer, but I was working all the time. I wanted to complete this before the birthday, so this cycle could really feel like, you know, it was realized in its core. Now it can be a next spin-off, right? A new series, right? You know, like a TV show, they create a spin-off, a new series, and like the essence is the same, but it's like a different alternate version of it. So that's what's coming next. I will update you with everything, and until the meantime, my tongue is really tied today. I'm sorry. It's quite a day. And I'll see you soon with so much love, wisdom, and power. I love you all so very much. Enjoy.